over on Black and White Sports 2, there is a video I did where Brittany Griner is sporting her new Ben Simmons look. Yeah, pretty impressive. Anyway, she got a new haircut. And Charles Barkley, that's right. Chuck is coming out, and Chuck's kind of lost his mind over the last couple of years, virtue signaling on behalf of the woke and really shilling for the Wuhan jab. Yeah.
Something worth noting before diving into the details. Had Brittany Griner simply chosen not to carry cannabis oil cartridges onto a flight headed into Russia, none of what followed would have happened. That decision is where everything begins.
He's shilling for the Wuhan jab. Yeah, he's out there doing that. He did a lot of things, begging people to get the jab. And in fact, he's currently in talks with CNN to host a show. You can't make this shit up. Okay, so Barkley has went out there and he's blaming American companies. He's blaming American companies that Brittany Griner and other WNBA players.
Griner was detained by Russian authorities after the illegal items were discovered. The sitting president at the time moved forward with a prisoner exchange that effectively traded away a significant national security asset to bring her home. That trade drew heavy criticism from many corners.
And other WNBA players are not getting the proper endorsements that's preventing them from having to go overseas to play basketball. Now, they pay a lot more money overseas to watch women play basketball. Here in the United States, well, for lack of a better way of putting it, we don't give a shit about the WNBA or women's basketball. But he's blaming American companies for not giving them the endorsements that will pay them enough for them.
Charles Barkley has recently entered the conversation, redirecting blame toward American corporations. His position is that major brands are falling short by refusing to extend endorsement deals to WNBA athletes, and that this financial gap is what drives players to seek higher-paying contracts in foreign leagues during the off-season. The argument being made is essentially that corporate America is responsible for athletes ending up overseas in potentially dangerous situations.
We're not giving them the endorsements that will pay them enough for them to stay here. Once again, keep in mind, Brittany Griner could still be playing in Russia if she chose to, had she not broke the law. But she did, so she can't. Wow. It is literally everybody else's fault that a basketball player broke another country's law. That is the root cause. But that's also a root cause here in the United States as well.
Barkley made these remarks while appearing at a promotional event tied to his partnership with Ruffles during NBA All-Star Weekend. He was joined at the event by WNBA player A'ja Wilson, who earlier had made history as the first female athlete to land a spot on the Ruffles endorsement roster. Each partnered athlete received a custom chip flavor, Barkley's being a hot dog variety, reflecting a personal preference he has spoken about publicly.
A root cause here in the United States as well, and well, they don't really give a shit what criminals do here anymore either. That would be the left. Charles Barkley wants American companies to get off their asses and endorse WNBA players, by God. Because after all, a WNBA player that is out there promoting Ruffles chips really makes me not want to ever eat a potato chip ever again.
His exact words called on companies to step up and secure deals for these athletes so the financial pressure to play abroad during off-seasons is reduced. He described the overseas situation as genuinely dangerous and expressed that supporting women's sports should be viewed as mutually beneficial for both the athlete and the brand involved.
Not want to ever eat a potato chip ever again. NBA legend Charles Barkley is calling upon American companies to start endorsing WNBA stars. While meeting fans at his Bark.Dogs pop-up shop, with Ruffles during the NBA All-Star Weekend, the 60-year-old NBA legend took a moment to advocate for the women of the WNBA. Here we go again. Please love them. Please watch them. No. Quote,
What that argument leaves out is fairly straightforward. Corporations pursue endorsement partnerships based on public recognition and audience appeal. An athlete or celebrity with a strong fan base and a broad likable presence will attract brand interest naturally. That connection between visibility and marketability is not a new idea. It has driven sponsorship decisions across every sport for decades.
quote, I love the women at the WNBA. Barkley tells People, explaining that he sympathizes with the, quote, rough time the league has had with the whole Brittany Griner thing in the last year, he says. Barkley, who is thrilled to be a Ruffles athlete alongside WNBA star Aja Wilson. Keep in mind, I have no idea who that is, nor am I going to go look her up.
The WNBA has faced persistent viewership challenges. Ratings have remained low relative to other professional sports leagues, which limits how much exposure a brand actually gains by associating with its players. That commercial reality shapes which deals get offered and which do not.
Am I going to go look her up? Says he hopes, quote, some of these American companies will get off their asses and get these girls some endorsements so they don't have to go overseas and play in the off season. Isn't the left not going to love the term girls? I mean, I don't know. Do they? Oh, they may not get mad about that kind of thing anymore. They're more worried about the trans. The NBA on TNT analyst calls for the need for female basketball players to.
Griner's current contract placed her as the 34th highest paid player in the WNBA, at a salary of around $165,000 annually. The off-season contracts available to top players in Russia and other foreign leagues have in some cases reached into the millions. The draw overseas is not entirely about being forced out. It is also about a significant pay difference that American League salaries simply do not match.
Caitlin might have played the whole month of July, but Caitlin has been on a tear for the month of July, bro. It's been reported that Indiana Fever head coach Stephanie White has been named WNBA Coach of the Month for the month of July, bro. During the month of July, White led the Indiana Fever to an 8-2 record, including a 5-game win streak, which that was the one that they just had, but they lost that streak due to the Minnesota Lynx. And if she's such a good coach, she didn't have.
Placing responsibility for Griner's arrest on endorsement gaps or league funding structures sidesteps the central fact that she carried prohibited substances into a country with strict drug laws. That action, and not a lack of corporate sponsorship, is what led to her detention.
And if she's such a good coach, she didn't have an answer for Olivia Miles. We ultimately know Olivia Miles put hands, feet, knuckles, everything all over the Indiana Fever. But it goes on to say a single month in league history. Additionally, the team made history, setting a new league record for most consecutive 100-plus point scoring games, currently sitting at 6 consecutive games. The Fever also set a new record for most scoring games in a single season, now at 14 games so far this season. Now,
Stephanie White has been handed the WNBA Coach of the Month award for July, and not everyone in the Indiana Fever fan base is thrilled about it. The honor comes after White guided the team to an 8-2 record during the month, which included a 5-game winning streak. The Fever also broke league records, putting together 6 back-to-back games with 100-plus points scored, and reaching 14 total high-scoring games across the season so far.
Season now at 14 games so far this season. Now, when it comes to monthly players, none other than Kelsey Mitchell got the player of the month. And she had an outstanding month, man. The Fever Guard notched up 272 total points in 10 games this last month. And she had a strong average of 27 points per game. That is Kelsey Mitchell. Now, we all know Caitlin Clark got player of the week, I believe, 2 times in a month.
The winning streak eventually snapped when the Minnesota Lynx came to town. Olivia Miles, in particular, gave Indiana serious problems, and some fans pointed to that loss as evidence that White lacks the tactical adjustments needed when opponents come in with a clear plan.
believe 2 times in the month of July. And to me, I think the WNBA kind of snubbed Caitlin on Player of the Month. I believe Caitlin should have got it. She had a triple-double. Kelsey Mitchell has been scoring a lot of points, but Caitlin Clark broke like 4 or 5 records in one damn game. And that itself was just nasty, bro. Nasty work. But with all that being said, man, let's check out some of these comments because I know they're not going to.
Many supporters believe Caitlin Clark was the main engine behind July's strong run. Clark played through the entire month and was dominant, earning WNBA Player of the Week honors twice. A number of fans feel the league passed her over unfairly for Player of the Month, especially given that she broke multiple records in a single game during that stretch. The award instead went to fellow Fever guard Kelsey Mitchell, who scored 272 total points across 10 games and averaged 27 points per game, numbers that were genuinely impressive by any measure.
They're not going to be good. But let's see. Somebody said, I'll call a spade a spade. I'm always about numbers. Don't lie. Congrats, Stephanie White. We are dominating now that we finally abandoned the prison ball approach that had the offense in change. Do you know that reporting a W means, Stephanie White? I wouldn't really say that I'm educated enough. A travesty. Anything this team has achieved is in spite of Stephanie White. Stephanie White is a turncoat who is working against.
Fan reaction to White's coaching award was mixed at best and pointed at worst. Several comments circulating online reflected deep frustration. Some pushed back hard, saying the team's success came despite White rather than because of her, pointing to her tendency to leave Caitlin Clark on the floor even when foul trouble piles up early, and citing what they see as a lack of accountability when players face rough physical treatment on the court. Others acknowledged the 8-2 record and gave credit where they felt it was due, even if reluctantly.
Of Stephanie White. Stephanie White is a turncoat who is working against her own team. Thank you. Stephanie White wants to see Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever fail. Stephanie White does not care when her players are assaulted. She don't even challenge plays. Now, we do know there has been times early in the game where Caitlin Clark will get in foul trouble. And Stephanie White just completely ignores it. This time and time again. Goes on to say, now this is sanity. There is no one less deserving than Stephanie White. If anything, it should have been.
The Fever's television numbers have also been a talking point. Indiana games have dominated the list of most watched WNBA matchups in league history, and the recent game featuring Olivia Miles pulled in around 3 million viewers, a figure that reflects just how much attention this team and its storylines are drawing right now.
Stephanie White, if anything, it should have been Cheryl Reed. She didn't do ish. No coaching adjustment mid-game, none of that. The team played their off and are gelling together. And if you're thinking, well, doesn't the coach have something to do with it? No, watch the locker room footage. Fever fans like me punching the air right now. Yeah, bro. Now, something else that happened is the viewership. The most viewed WNBA games of all time.
Separately, a conversation around athletes and political opinion has been making rounds in sports media. When Fever guard Sophie Cunningham shared a view on trans athletes, the response was sharp and divisive. Caitlin Clark, asked about the same topic, declined to go there, saying it was not something discussed in the locker room, and that decisions like that belong with leagues and governing bodies. Her answer drew criticism from some media figures who called it a dodge.
It's the viewership. The most viewed WNBA games of all time, Indiana Fever. Then the one that just had was 3.3 million. That's because he was playing none other than Olivia Miles. So I stated this whenever they played Olivia Miles, that's going to be the new storyline, is her playing Olivia Miles. Now, Colin Cowherd went on a major rant, bro.
So Sophie Cunningham had an opinion.
Sports commentator Colin Cowherd pushed back on that criticism directly. His argument was that athletes are not obligated to take sides on political